Hello kids, this is your English lesson. In this lesson, we are going to read a story haircut from Oxford Modern English. First of all, words to know. Bemused, puzzled, confused, determined, decided, with one's mind made up. Grubby, covered with dirt, insisted, held firm, refused to give in. Marveled, showed surprise, admiration, and wonder. Outdone, surpassed, or exceeded, battered in performing an action. Preferred, chose to give priority to, liked. Reinvent, to change someone or something so that it seems new. Salon, a shop or place offering a product or service. Soundly, deeply, or completely. Style, an arrangement of steps that allows people but not animals to climb over a fence. Style, a way of arranging the hair. Fashionable. Tramp, one who travels aimlessly on foot. A beggar. Weary, tired, yanked, pulled quickly with a strong movement. Now come to the reading. When he was a little boy, people who met him for the first time marveled at his name. It was a long name and a bit of a tongue twister. When he started school, his teachers preferred to put him down in the class register as DNP. All his friends called him DNP. His mother, who had been responsible for giving him the name in the first place, shortened it even further and addressed him as DN. And his sister, not to be outdone, called him D. Now that he was older and wiser, DNP or DN or D always introduced himself to others by his full name, Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada. He also thought that people would think more highly of him if he grew a fine beard. So he did, and it was a very fine beard. Indeed, it was a marvelous beard. As the years went by, Nasiruddin Pirzada's smart, impressive beard turned very grey. It was still a magnificent sight, but when he started to grow his hair long, he began to look a little like a tramp. One hot day, as he was walking down the road to the market to buy some vegetables for his lunch, he suddenly felt a little weary. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada took off his cap and wiped his head with his handkerchief before replacing it carefully on his head. The cap used to fit perfectly well until he started to grow his hair long. Fortunately for Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada, he was passing by a park at this time and spotted an empty bench beside the outer fence of the park. So he sat down to rest for a few minutes. As he sat in the scorching sun, wondering how he was going to carry those vegetables home, Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada decided to close his eyes for a moment or two. In precisely 30 seconds he had dozed off, his head dropped forward, till his bearded chin rested on his chest and his cap fell into his lap. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada snored. Half an hour later, a barking dog woke him from his nap. He sat upright with a jolt. It took him a few seconds to remember where he was, where he had come from, and where he was going, and then he noticed his cap in his lap. Much to his amazement, Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada's cap had a few coins in it. Where did these come from? He asked himself, looking bemused. As he sat examining the coins, a passer-by stopped and added another coin to his collection. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada was greatly shocked. My goodness, he exclaimed. People are giving me money because they think I am a tramp. He hastily removed the coins from the cap, placed it on his head, stood up, and brushed his jacket. Yes, it's all looking a little crumpled, he thought to himself, and perhaps it's Time for a new look. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada, I am going to reinvent you. With this decision made, Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada moved along towards the market with great speed. At the market, he did not go to the vegetable stalls. He marched straight into Samid's style salon. Ha! thought Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada as he entered the salon and looked around the place. Can't spell, but I hope they can cut hair. There were 5 chairs in front of 5 long mirrors on the facing wall. 4 of the chairs were taken, and the 4 gentlemen occupying these chairs were having their hair cut. The room felt like an oven, but Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada was determined to say. The owner was a large man with at least 3 chins. There was not a single hair on his head. He greeted Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada with a bow. Hello, said the owner, nodded his shiny head from side to side. Haircut, trim, shampoo, washing, beard, all. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada wondered if the man knew any 2 word sentences as he thought about this. He looked at himself in one of the long mirrors on the wall. It was not a pretty sight. Yes, replied Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada. Washing, shampoo, no hair cutting, trim, beard. Yes. Sitting, please, said the man, pointing to an empty chair. Ah, said Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada to himself as he sat down. 2 words, incorrect grammar, but 2 words in one sentence. I hope he can do better with my hair. Mr. Sami, the owner of Sami's Style Salon, wrapped a sheet around the neck of Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada. The sheet covered his chest and arms and reached almost to the floor. It was a little grubby, but Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada did not mind. He had made up his mind. Mr. Sami instructed one of the assistant barbers. The young assistant scurried forward, carrying a comb in one hand and clicking a sharp pair of scissors in the other. He smiled as he approached and nodded his head from side to side, just like his boss. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada did not say a word. He stared at his reflection in the mirror, while the barber clicked away at the top of his head. Beads of sweat began to drip from Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada's nose. He had been hot outside the salon. He was hotter inside this oven-like room. And to make matters worse, Mr. Sami had tucked him up in a blanket. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada began to nod. Not like Mr. Sami or his assistant had done, but a sleepy nod. Every time his chin fell forward onto his chest. The barber yanked it upright, but this did not worry Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada. He was too hot and tired to bother. He soon fell soundly asleep. Soundly is the right word for this kind of sleep because Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada made an awful sound. He snored loudly. Half an hour later, Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada's eye opened sleepily. He yawned and stretched and then remembered where he was. He looked at himself in the mirror. He stared. He blinked. He stared again. The reflection in the mirror was not one he recognized. It was not Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada, but some other man. He raised one arm and winked just to make sure that the man in the mirror was himself. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada leapt out of his chair and screamed. He pointed at the man in the mirror and then turned to face Mr. Sami, who was hurrying towards him. What have you done? Cried Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada. Where is it? I asked you to trim my beard, not shave it off. Beard shaving, replied Mr. Sami, using a rare 2 word sentence again and nodded his head from side to side. Okay, there is nothing okay about it, cried Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada, stroking his smooth chin. A long argument followed. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada insisted on paying less because Mr. Sami had not followed instructions. He complained that he had come into the salon as Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada and was living as somebody else. Mr. Sami wanted more money because for far more hair had been removed from the customer's head. Finally, after a long debate, a very unhappy Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada left the salon. He forgot all about his vegetables and headed towards the bus stand. He mumbled, grumbled, and cursed all the way there. Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada joined the queue and waited for his bus. Then an old lady who was also waiting for the bus turned to him and spoke. "Young man," said the old lady pleasantly, "I left my watch at home. Would you kindly tell me the time?" "Certainly, certainly," said Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada with a smile. "It's time to celebrate." The old lady gave Danish Nasiruddin Pirzada a very odd look, but he did not care. Young man," he repeated to himself as he left the queue and trotted home, still smiling. Now come to the exercises. Comprehension. Answer the following questions. A. What was it that people marveled at about DNP? Answer. People marveled at DNP's name. Also, the beard he grows when he is an adult is described as marvelous. B. Why did DNP grow a beard? Answer. DNP grew a beard because he thought that people would think more highly of him if he did so. C. When did DNP decide to have a haircut and why? Answer. DNP decided to have a haircut after people gave him money because they thought he was tramp. He realized that his long hair and grey. D. What was funny about the name of the barber shop? Answer. The name of the barber's shop was funny because it contained a spelling mistake. A stile is an arrangement of steps that allows people but not animals to climb over a fence. It should say style. E. What was strange about the way Mr. Sami spoke? Answer. Mr. Sami's way of speaking was strange because he spoke in broken English using one or two word sentences. F. Who gave DNP a haircut? Answer. One of the assistant barber gave DNP a haircut. G. Why did DNP argue with Mr. Sami? Answer. DNP argued with Mr. Sami because he had asked for his beard to be trimmed, but the assistant barber have shaved it off. H. How did the lady at the bus stop make DNP feel happy? Answer. The lady at the bus stop made DNP feel happy because she called young man when she asked him what time it was. These questions are more difficult. Discuss them first. How did various people address DNP and why did they choose to do so in those ways? Answer. DNP's teachers and friends called him DNP. His mother called him DN, his sister called him D. All of them shortened his name because it was long and bit of tongue twister. J. How did DNP's appearance change during his life? Answer. DNP grew a beard when he became an adult. The beard turned grey as he grew older. Then DNP let his hair grow longer and he started to look a bit like a tramp. After his hair cut and shaved, DNP looked younger. Number 2. Answer the questions about this line from the story. Where did these come from? He asked himself, looking bemused. A. Who said these words and where? DNP said the words after he woke up on the bench in the park. What is referred to by these? These refers to the coins people had left in his hat. Why did the speaker look bemused? DNP looked bemused because he was confused about how the coins had come to be in his hat, because he had been asleep when people had put them in there. Page number 78. Find words in the story that have the opposite meaning to the following. A. Last, first. B. Approximately, precisely. C. Rose, fell. D. Correct, incorrect. E. Many, few. F. Open, closed. G. Slowness, speed. H. Forgot, remembered. Complete the following, add present participle and any other words. A. The man caught the boys eating mangoes from his tree. B. We spent the afternoon dreaming of the sea. C. She locked the cupboard containing the gold jewelry. Change the following. Put going to in place of the future tense and the future tense in place of going to. A. My father will build a boat next Saturday. B. I am going to sail it on the lake. C. It looks as if it's going to rain soon. D. I am going to the lake on Saturday. E. There is going to be a holiday on Saturday. Thanks for listening. For new videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you like my videos, please share and like.